Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of... I should have decided before I sat down. Embarrassing Stories. First up we have TIFU by pepper spraying myself with no pepper spray around by Harlem Harlow. So a few years ago, my husband bought me one of those safety keychains. The ones with a taser, pepper spray, kitty-shaped knuckles, window breaker, etc. I didn't have a lot of use for it, but it was for my husband, so I kept it. After about a year, I realized that the pepper spray was somehow empty, even though I'd never used it. In the end, threw away the empty spray canister, stored away the knuckles and window breaker parts, but kept the taser in its little Velcro pouch in my work bag. Come to this morning, the taser catches my eye in my work bag, so I take it out to see if it still works. I open the Velcro patch on the pouch and push the on switch. Within seconds, my throat and nose are burning. I'm coughing like I'm going to hack up a lung. My nose feels like it's on fire and it's running like a faucet. Because of all of this, my eyes start streaming, but there's no pain. I fumble to the bathroom for some toilet paper to wipe my nose. I also try to wipe my tears from my eyes with my hands. Bad idea. Suddenly the skin around my eyes is also on fire. This is all within 30 seconds of opening the Velcro on the long-forgotten taser. I have no idea what has happened. I think I'm dying, about to vomit from how hard I'm coughing, can't breathe through my nose, and now can't open my eyes with the pain. I manage to fill a cup of water from the sink and get it down my throat to somewhat soothe the throat. My nose is still stinging, but is definitely the least affected of the three. I made my way through half-open eyes to the freezer to put some ice on my eyes. The ice soothes the pain to the point where I can start to wonder what the fuck just happened to me. With one hand, I go to Google and ask, how can a taser do this to me? Turns out that the oil-based capsaicin trapped in the Velcro can stay there for a long-ass time. And me opening that Velcro patch on the taser pouch launched the residual pepper spray straight at my face and hands. At least the internet was able to tell me what happened, otherwise I'd still be sitting here wondering. So yay, it's 4 years later, and the skin around my eyes still feels like it's been sunburned. It's good to know it works, I suppose. Might want to get another can. Just in case. So you can have it and never need it, but you know, as opposed to needing it and not having it. Safety. Story number 2. TIFU by faking a southern accent and having a girl like it by Rosrain04. A few weeks ago, 3 of my friends and I, female 21, went on vacation. Now, you see from the title, we all assumed that would be something a man would do, but let's read on. We're from the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and we went to New York for a week. While on vacation, we saw a really small production of the musical Oklahoma. And my God, the accents in the musical were so bad. It was Oklahoma, so they were supposed to be Southern. But they were awful. After seeing the production, one of my friends and I kept talking to each other in Southern accents, which turned into us talking in Southern accents almost all the time. It was honestly addicting. I got stuck in the accent. I started thinking in the accent. I lost myself in the accent. I don't think my accent was very good or convincing, but it was so much fun. I won't do it for the whole story. This is where the fuck-up began. The friend I had been doing accents with and I went to a gay club, and while we were having a fun time on the dance floor, a girl and her friend came up to us and made a dance circle with the 4 of us. We introduced ourselves and chatted a bit, but of course, I was stuck in the accent. You went method. Never go method. Which caused my friend to also be stuck in the accent. She asks where we're from, and I tell her Kansas, and she says, I love your Kansas accents. For those who might not know, most people born and raised in Kansas don't have Southern accents, unless they're really putting in an effort. Nobody around my hometown has one, unless they moved here from somewhere more southern. She's from New York City and didn't know this, and instead of explaining that it's not my real accent, I just say, "Oh, thanks." And we kept talking. Eventually, the four of us moved to a table to keep talking, and we end up exchanging numbers. Enjoy your new life. My friend and I end up leaving the club first, and then my friend informs my useless lesbian ass that the girl was flirting with me all night, and it all went over my head. The next morning, she ends up texting me, and I pick up on the flirting over text. And at one point, she texts me saying, "I'm reading your text in your cute accent." I see the opportunity to tell her my accent isn't real, it's just a bit I was doing with my friend, haha. But when she says, "Wanna call?" and I panic and say yes, then I feel like I have to keep the accent going. You could have just said you were drunk and you and your friend were doing a bit. This was a few weeks ago. Oh no. We've been talking a lot since then and are pretty involved, and she calls me her girlfriend to some of her friends. But we haven't really talked about what we are, so I don't know how serious she is. I know one way to find out, or if she's just joking. I feel like I'm so deep into this that I might have to adopt this accent as my everyday voice, because it feels so awkward and weird to tell her, and I don't want her to like me less if I don't have that accent. So now I'm faking an accent every time I talk to her, and I don't even know how to come clean, and she thinks this is just a Kansas accent. Oh, bless your heart. Alright, I'm going to give you some serious advice. These stories are usually hijinks, but I'm going to give you some serious advice. This was 2 weeks ago, so if you're still out at it, you have to accept that you like this person and you respect them enough to be honest with them, because if you aren't honest with them, you don't respect them, and that's simply the way it translates. So you have to tell her, "Hey, look, my friend and I were just having fun at the club that night, doing accents, we got a little silly, and when I realized you thought it was really how we spoke, I was too embarrassed to explain it, and it just kind of steamrolled, it snowballed, but I really like you, and I want to be honest with you, and I don't think we can build a relationship on a lie, so do this in your real voice, by the way. So this is me coming clean. She might never want to talk to you again, but that is something you will have to accept when telling the truth. If you're lucky, she might eventually see the funny side. Although the longer it goes on, the less funny it gets, I feel. Story number 3. TIFU by stealing an Amazon Echo Dot, but they're so cheap. By Fuzzy Bear Sis. Obligatory occurred today. Sorry if it's too long. As part of my job, I attend a conference as a speaker. This is the kind of event where people network in between sessions, and the kind with promotional merch from sponsors. As soon as I arrived, I noticed that one of the tech giants had a table with some of their merch, and an Amazon Echo Dot. That's neat, I thought. Throughout the day, I visited the different tables and grabbed some of the trinkets they had. Stickers, a keychain, some funny socks. Yet the Echo Dot remained there. I noticed that periodically they would restock their supply of things people took as they chatted. Near the end of the day, I gathered the courage to speak to the rep that was manning the table with the Echo Dot. I really have no use for an Echo Dot, but I recently got a digital doorbell and it works with the Alexa ecosystem. Oh, trust me, you'll start with it and then eventually you'll have your lights, your fan. I've got my kettle. It's a kettle, you switch it on. I've got my kettle hooked up to it so that I can say tea Earl Grey hot and it will turn on. It's addictively fun. Especially if you change the wake word from Alexa to computer. If you're into that weird nerdy stuff. And I thought it might be cool to get the doorbell to ring upstairs, especially if it was for free. I didn't want to miss out on the chance of taking home another piece of demotica, just because I didn't ask. Hey, what do you have to do to get the Echo Dot? Oh, it's easy. All I need is your business card. Oh, I don't have a business card. No problem. Do you have a LinkedIn? Yes, I do. Spends a good 2.5 minutes trying to log in, resetting my password, figuring out the two-factor authentication. At least we know it works. All the while speaking to the nice rep. Here's the QR. Great. They scan it. At this moment, someone came over and told the rep that they needed to go somewhere else. The rep got up from the table, gave me 2 thumbs up and said, "Okay, you're all good," and just left me there alone. The Echo Dot on the table. I stood there for what must have been a good 55 seconds thinking about what to do next. Is that it? The Echo Dot is mine. The next speaker was just starting in the room next door, so I thought, I guess I'm good to take it home. I better get back to the session. I grabbed this little guy from the table and quickly found a seat at the auditorium. The Echo Dot sat on the chair next to me. While the speaker was presenting, I noticed some of the organizers were hastily walking up and down the aisles looking around the crowd. A sense of doom started to stir within me. One of them quickly paused in the aisle next to me, but didn't say anything. They laughed. Whew, I'm in the clear, I thought. I was not. When the speaker finished their presentation, a very nice person, one of the organizers, sat down next to me. This is when I knew I had fucked up. She very nicely and politely explained that the Echo Dot that was occupying the seat next to me, she pointed to it, was the prize to a very special draw that they were going to have at the end of the session. She then very nicely asked if it was okay if she took it back to the main area. Again, she pointed at it. I quickly grabbed from the seat and gave it to her. I couldn't get it away from me fast enough. I apologized, but not a lot of words came out of me. I was fully aware of the FU. I wanted the earth to swallow me. If I wasn't next on the roster of speakers, I would have bolted from the event. I moved to Finland, probably. I hear they're nice people. Story number 4. TIFU by Breaking the Cycle by Hustler. Every working morning is the same routine. Wake up, brush my teeth, shower, dress up, pack up, car on, and 2 left turns before arriving to my usual drive-through cafe. Ever since I moved down here 4 months ago for my job, I have maintained this morning's sequence of events before heading off to work. Love this cafe. They have this amazing cheese croissant and iced latte. It's a must-have to energize my day. I was very surprised when just a few days into my routine, the morning staff began to recognize my car. At first it was just a, "Morning, sir, ready for your day?" Then it was, "Hey again, iced latte and croissant, right?" Which was quite flattering. Then it became, "Alrighty, the usual?" But then those bastards did the unthinkable. I was in the car queue and made it to the window. The fucker had the tap machine ready for payment and wasn't even looking at me while holding my drink and pastry out the window. That fucking grinned too. Not a word spoke, yet everything in between understood. Almost like he was saying, "You're boring, son. I know you better than you know yourself." He was probably just thinking I'll save a few minutes, but whatever. So for the last month, every morning I'd walk up to the window and either hear a shortened "morning" or just a smile with, "Here you go." I wasn't even ordering anymore, just accepting my fate, your delicious, refreshing fate. Until last week, I pulled over to the drive-through window as usual. The order was prepared, and he was handing it over. One hand had my glorious croissant and latte. The other had the payment machine. Well, not today. Today I say something. Today I break out of this damned cycle. No, actually, I just wanted a water. Huh? Yeah, just water today, please. He looked at me in disbelief. The betrayal was gutting. He retreated back behind his window, and I held my ground. He came back with a water bottle and said, "Sir, this is on the house," as if to win me back in his good graces. "Oh, well, thanks." He just stood there for a second, still staring at me, hoping I'd change my mind. "Are you sure you don't want anything else?" "Nope, I'm certain. Have a wonderful day." Heartbroken, he says, "You too." Victoriously, I emerged from the battleground. The next day I see him again. He seems to have learned his lesson. He asks me this time what I want. I tell him, "The usual." He smirks. "The usual?" My eyes widen. "Yes?" "Sorry, sir, just remind me what that would be. A latte and..." "Croissant." "Thyme, white cheese, or turkey?" "White." "Do you want any add-ons?" "Huh? No, just the usual." Oh, I know, sir. Just making sure. Oh no, what have I done? It's been almost 2 weeks. I used to get out of that drive-thru in seconds. Now it feels like an eternity. And he smirks every time he sees me. I won the battle, but this bastard won the war. I don't know about you, but I was picturing Key and Peele during that sketch. I actually used to do that in retail as well. People would come in, they get the usual pack of cigarettes or whatever it was. I would just kind of discreetly, when I saw them walk through the door, pick it up off the shelf, put it beside the till. I wouldn't be obvious about it, and when they asked about no problem, I'd just pick up and scan it. Then they knew they too had become predictable. But it saved everyone time. And if they didn't want it, didn't matter. There was no awkward moment because I had it out the way until I was sure they wanted it. Anyway, and the fifth and final story is, TIFU, I ate an entire container of pickles. I see no problems. And really regretted it. By Jazz Like Rise 4091. Let me just say, if you currently eat any brand of pickles that isn't Grillo's, and you switch to Grillo's, lock them motherfuckers up the first time, because the amount of euphoria you will get from eating them is genuinely harmful, and will come with severe consequences. I've always been a pickle person. I grew up on Mount Olive, and there was Vlasic Mini Kosher, which does the job. Nothing more to say about it. My roommate has been buying Grillo's dill spears for a few months, and eats them straight out of the jar at like 11 p.m. with the fridge door open. A person of culture. I thought that was a little much. I just hadn't tried one yet, because I didn't think pickles could really get that much better, and Grillo's looked odd and pale, without yellow dye. Can you tell I'm American? Yes, I know, I'm stupid. Oh dear. Let's finish the story before we decide that. Come on now. I stand highly corrected that colour does not equal quality. 2 days ago I gave in and bought my own tub of spears. Ate the whole container standing over the sink while my roommate watched from the couch just smiling like the Green Goblin. You know, I'm something of a pickle eater myself. They're good, very crunchy. I felt great about it. Told my roommate these might be the best pickles I've ever had. About 2 hours later, my stomach started making fucking awful noises. An hour after that, I was on the bathroom floor throwing up. And it was not a normal type of throw-up. It was straight vinegar with pickle chunks, still fully intact, like I could put that shit back in the container. I was actually swallowing them like a snake, apparently. Then the other end started erupting. Oh no. I won't go into detail except to say it was spicy coming out too. I did not know that was a possibility. I do now. I didn't really sleep, just bathroom, bed, bathroom, and by the next day I was so dehydrated I basically had a hangover. It felt like I had a brick in my head and couldn't stand up straight. Light hurt my eyes. For $4 on Amazon, you can get all the negative effects of alcohol and its pickle flavor. I think I'd prefer the pickles. Grillo's, I'll have to be on the lookout for them. In moderation. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Big thanks to everyone who allowed me to use their stories. If you'd like to support the channel, you can sign up for my Patreon page, which is linked down in the description. $1 or more, whatever you're comfortable supporting, will get you early access to the videos at once on Monday. Then there's my merchandise store. You'd think I'd know this by now, it's not my first time saying it. My merchandise store, which is over on Teespring, as well as my Discord server. And then there's also my Threads account if you want to check that out. And my email is kingofthecities@gmail.com. Those last two stories made me hungry. My mouth is actually watering. I have to go get some food when I'm done. Where was I? Oh yes, that's everything for now. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and take very good care of yourselves.